Hello everyone. I find this example for you. So the example says solve this equation by completing the square. So this is the equation, and the only way you have to solve it is completing the square. So there's many ways. One of them is completing the square. So how do you solve this example by the completed square? Before anything, we just have to get rid of this 3 because why? Because in perfect square we have 3 parts, and one and the third part are square, but this 3 is not square. We have to get rid of this 3. So how do we do that? We simply divide each terms, both sides, or each terms by 3, and now just divide 3 over 3 is just 1, is x squared is remaining here. Now 10 over 3 is still 10 over 3 as a fraction. Don't make it a decimal number here. X is still x, and minus 3 over 3 is still minus 1. Okay, so now, now before finding the third part, we have to find b, which is the coefficient of x. Here is this is b. You can choose minus 10 over 3 or just 10 over 3. Both of them are okay because the rule is squared, is not gonna change any sign. So here b is 10 over 3. Now the rule for completing the square, perfect square, we have to, this is the rule, is b over 2, all of them squared. So b over 2b here is 10 over 3. Instead of b, we write 10 over 3, all of them over 2, and all of them to the power of 2. Okay, now we have a fraction over a number. How do we do that? How do we divide them? There's a lot of ways, but one of them, we have to make both numerator and denominator a fraction. So every denominator of every number is 1. So for denominator of 2, we write 1. So now we say we multiply them by the reciprocal. The reciprocal here, we say 10 over 3 multiplied by, we just flip that second fraction here. We make it, this is division, we make it multiplication, and if we flip the second fraction, it's going to be 1 over 2. And all of them to the power of 2. Okay, and now we can just simply multiply numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator. But before that, we have to simplify some of them, like 2 divided by 2 is just 1, 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now we can multiply them. So 1 multiplied by 5 is still 5. 1 multiplied by 3 is 3 to the power of 2. We can add both sides by the same number, or just put the power on 5 and 1, 3 becomes 5 squared over 3 squared, and 5 squared becomes 25, and 3 squared becomes 9. Okay, so we have to add the third part, or this side, by 25 over 9. Okay, so x squared minus 10 over 3x, we add them. So the third part, we have to add it by 25 over 9. If I add something in every equation, if I add something or do anything for one side, we have to do the same thing for the other side. So I added this side by 25 over 9. We have to do the same thing, this side again by 25 over 9. Okay, separate them. Now just make just minus these two numbers, but before that, we just find the denominator for this one. Always denominator, always for every denominator for every number is 1. If you the number doesn't have the denominator. So we say what? We multiply the denominators. So we say 1 multiplied by 9 is 9, and we multiply this denominator by the other denominator and this denominator by the other denominator. Okay, 1 multiplied minus 1 multiplied by 9 is minus 9, and 1 there's a plus here, so 1 multiplied by 25 is 20 plus 25 here, and here just minus 25 minus 9 equals to 16, so the denominator is still 9. And this side becomes 16 over 9. How about this side? This side is easy. I told you the rule. If we have a perfect square, we just open a bracket, but the bracket to the power of 2, and we use the middle middle term sign is gonna be minus. We use this one, and the first term with square root of the first term, okay, and the square root of the second term, 25 over 9. We use this one and this one with the square root and only the sign of the middle term here. Okay, the bracket is squared. The square root of x squared is x, because this 2 and the square root cancels as well. And the square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 9 is 3. Now, if by this rule, if we have x squared equals to a positive number, x squared equal to negative positive the square root of that number. By this rule, we have to make this this bracket is squared but is equal to a positive number. We can make it like this. We can say we just remove the square and we put the square root for this side. So remove the x squared, x minus 5 over 3 is equal to positive or negative square root of 16 over 9. Or just simply you can say that if we have a square, anything squared, we just have to find the opposite. If we want to get rid of the square, we have to find the opposite. Or opposite of squared or the power of 2 is the square root. Okay, so take square root for both sides. So square root and the power goes only inside the brackets. Remain here in the square root gonna be positive or negative square root of this side. Now, positive or negative square root of 16 is 4, square root of 9 is 3. But here it stays the same, 5 over 3. Now we have this one. This is this is not finished yet, so we make it both two branches. One of them plus, the other is minus. So x minus 5 over 3 equals to 4 over 3. The one of them is plus, that's the plus, and or we say x minus 5 over 3 equals to the minus 1. Now, what should we do for it? So we solve this apart and then solve this apart, and then we get the answer. So for this side, we want to make x alone at this side. So what's happening around it? X minus by this fraction, minus 5 over 3. We have to do the opposite. The opposite for this one is we have to add them by the same fraction. So we add both sides. If I add this side by 5 over 3, we have to do the same thing for the other side. 5 over 3. I write it beside each other, so you have to know what should we do. So x minus 5 over 3 plus 5 over 3, and 4 over 3 plus it by 5 over 3. I just rewrite it this one, this step, this is the same step. So this one and this one goes, because minus of plus goes and becomes 0. Only x is remaining, but here we have the same denominator. We write one denominator, we add the denominator, so 4 plus 5 is 9. So 9 over 3 is what? Is 3. So one answer is 3, or the other, and sorry, not or, the other is this. So x is minus by 5 over 3 and equal to minus 4 equals to minus 4 over 3. So what is happening around here? X added by this one. Sorry, subtracted by this one. You have to do the opposite. The opposite of this one, you have to add it by the same number, same fraction. 5 over 3. If I add anything if I do anything for one side, you have to do the same thing for the other side. Okay, so this one and this one goes, becomes 0. So only x remains. And we have the same denominator here. We write denominator, common denominator. Okay, and 5 minus 4 equals 1. So the answer here is 1 over 3. So we have two roots of x, two answers, two value of x. So one of them is 1 over 3, or the other is just 3. Great, thank you for listening, guys. See you later.